Do you ever feel like you are alone on a desert island as the business owner, that no one understands what you're going through? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling. I am your host of the Profit by Design podcast. I am the author of the international best-selling series, How to Hire the Best, and the 4-Week Vacation. I'm also the business psychologist. And today I want to talk with you about that feeling of loneliness and isolation that so many of us have as business owners, and how to deal with all the emotions that come up as we run our businesses. So that's what we're going to dive into today. And I want to share with you that if you feel alone, rest assured you are not alone. It's crazy. 50% of us, 1 out of 2 of us, feel as though no one understands us and the stressors we experience. We've surveyed over 700 entrepreneurs now with our Better Business, Better Life assessment. And that finding comes up over and over. This feeling of isolation is because we feel like we can't confide in our team members. We can't confide always in our significant others, our spouses, because when we bring work home and we share something with them, we may make a different decision the next day. We may have to handle things differently than what we discussed at home. And so a lot of times we've just decided, you know what, we can't really talk about this at home. And it creates a lot of stress and tension when you break work home. So we find that a lot of small business owners feel like you're making decisions in isolation. And there are so many decisions to be made as a small business owner that we experience decision fatigue. So one of the biggest risk factors for burnout is this ongoing feeling of isolation as a business owner. And the other problem that comes up with being isolated as a business owner is that we don't realize that so much of what we are experiencing is common and it is natural, related to the different phases of growth that we're going through in our businesses. A lot of times we may blame ourselves for the problems in the business and think that there is something wrong with our leadership. And somehow, if we were better leaders, we wouldn't be having these issues. Well, a lot of times the issues are a symptom of the phase of growth that the business is in. So this feeling of isolation leads to burnout, and 9 out of 10 of us are burning out. So the first thing that I think is important to recognize that when we're feeling isolated, we need to get out of isolation. And the best way to do that is to surround yourself with other business owners and connect with other business owners who are at a similar level of growth as you are. And in our group programs at Tap the Potential, one of the things that our clients tell us is so helpful is coming into group and sharing a struggle or a challenge, and then looking around the Zoom room and seeing faces nodding, heads nodding in understanding because other business owners have those same experiences. There's tremendous healing in recognizing you're not alone. But there's something else that's very powerful that reduces that feeling of isolation. And that is the ongoing question that we ask every time you come to a coaching call with us at Tap the Potential. And that is, how can we support you? What a powerful question, right? Because as business owners, we're not having our team members come to us on a regular basis and say, how can I support you? If you have A players on your team, maybe they're doing that. Maybe if they've been through our leadership boot camp at Tap the Potential, they've learned to do that. But a lot of times that's not going on for you as the business owner. And you feel like everything, like the world just rests on your shoulders. So this leads to a lot of negative self-talk in our head. And that's one of the biggest dangers of staying isolated as a business owner, is that our thinking goes unchecked and we start to develop storylines. So let me just give you an example of what that might look like. Say you've had lots of bad experiences with hiring and you've brought people on and you've tried to delegate, but they repeatedly let you down. So you develop a storyline in your head that you can't trust employees. And because you can't trust employees, you decide you need to keep the business at a certain level because you don't want to hire more people. So that caps the growth of the business. That's one of the big dangers. But the other danger is that it keeps you tied to the business. The majority of small business owners feel like everything in the business depends on them. And again, that ties back to feelings of isolation. And so when you have that kind of storyline running through your head, you want to really unpack that and say, is this true? And you're likely not to you're not likely to confront that thinking in yourself. You need someone outside of you to confront that. And if it's related to hiring, a lot of times it's a skill set and there's a deficit in a skill set. And just like any other skill that you've learned as you've grown your business, how to hire the best is a skill set that you can learn and improve on. As a matter of fact, we have lots of clients who go through our How to Hire the Best course. They learn the skills for hiring and then immediately start hiring A players. And it's the most amazing experience when you have had one experience after the other of employees burning you and letting you down and disappointing you. And then you get that first A player on your team and you realize they want to help. They want to troubleshoot. They want to be your thinking partner and develop solutions for the biggest challenges in the business. And all of a sudden, it feels like, oh my gosh, I can take all these things off my plate. And then the storyline starts to change. The storyline goes from, I can't trust people because I have been burned in the past, to I am cautiously optimistic that this A player really intends to help me and they're going to be here for a while and we're going to turn things around in the business. And then after you have a couple of A players on the team, the storyline completely shifts to I am competent and capable in hiring A players. I am developing as a leader who knows how to lead A players. And this is such a significant example because when we are trying to lead a team of mediocre employees who are somewhat motivated, but really are just there to collect a paycheck, and they make a lot of mistakes and there's a lot of rework, it feels very hard to lead that team. It feels like there's constant challenges and problems coming up, right? Well, when you get some A players on your team and things start going right, then it is so much easier to lead a team of A players because there's just this forward momentum. They love to create wins and successes with you. And this is one of the things that I want to touch on when it comes to managing our emotions as business owners. So much of what we think drives our emotions. Our thoughts drive our emotions. And in our research with the Better Business, Better Life assessment, 84%, 8 out of 10 business owners are telling us that your mood fluctuates based on how the business is doing. And the hard thing about that is the business may go up and down. Like there could be good days and there can be bad days. And if your mood is connected to that, well, you're having good days and bad days too. And then you're bringing that home and that creates stress in your family relationships, especially if you have a significant other. So, and along those same lines, 8 out of 10 business owners are telling us that you find it hard to switch off and not think about the business. So it is always running through your head. And as a matter of fact, I have had spouses of business owners confide in me that they feel like there is an affair going on between the business owner and the business. It feels like there's this jealousy because the spouse feels like the business owner is always thinking about the business and preoccupied and taking phone calls at family events and at dinner and in the evening and being pulled away from date nights and family gatherings to go deal with the business. And so that creates this feeling of jealousy. And so all of this ties back to isolation as a business owner because you're not having any feedback around how your behavior has become a pattern, a very self-destructive pattern, and we want to interrupt that pattern. So one of the things that we do at Tap the Potential in all of our coaching programs, we ask you, what are your wins and successes? That's how we start off each meeting. And there's a lot of reasons we ask that. But one of the main reasons is because as human beings, we are wired to notice what's wrong in our environment. So we business owners are constantly paying attention to the things that are going wrong in the business. And we're criticizing team members and we're bringing that negative energy into our homes after work. So we want to reverse that pattern and we want to start paying attention to what's working because really what we focus on grows. And so if we want to create a business that runs smoothly, that is profitable, that gives us time freedom, we need to notice all of our small wins and successes on that path. So as you come into our group coaching programs, we are going to be asking you, what are your wins and successes so that you start focusing on those. But the other reason we want you focusing on those wins and successes is you can leverage those wins and successes and create more of them. We can intentionally do more of what works when we are paying attention to what works in our business. So again, that means getting out of this place of isolation and reducing your burnout. The other way to address your feelings as a business owner, especially if you have a lot of anxiety, fear-based thinking, and even anger, is to ask yourself, am I making decisions out of fear or love? So many of our decisions are based out of fear, fear of being disappointed, fear of losing money, fear of something going wrong. And so we actually create the business we don't want. And the business we don't want is one that requires us to be present all the time, us to troubleshoot and problem solve, us to keep the cash flowing in the business so that we can pay our vendors and pay our payroll and pay ourselves. All of it depends on us. When we start making decisions out of love, we start trusting people again. And we make decisions that allow for growth and opportunity to happen. So a prime example of this is I have had saying to yourself, I've had bad experiences when I've signed up for business coaching in the past. I haven't utilized it fully, or I signed up for a coaching program and it was a lot of smoke and mirrors. They made a lot of promises, but when I got inside the program, they weren't there for me and I was on my own and I floundered. So I am never going to invest in coaching again. I'm not making this stuff up. We hear this all the time from clients at Tap the Potential when they're signing up with us. And one of the things that's very different about us at Tap the Potential is we track our clients' results. 94% of our clients are achieving our promised result of more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Our clients at Tap the Potential are increasing their time off by 7 times, sevenfold. So we have real results that we track. And I think that's very important because there have been so many coaching programs out there that kind of are scams, right? So as our clients come in and they start experiencing these small wins and successes that build up and lead to big change over time, they start to shift their story about what's possible and changing our mind about what is possible for us as business owners is a pivotal moment in our businesses. Because if we have believed to this in the past that we can only achieve a certain result and our business is going to just demand more and more of us, that's what we're going to create. And so that again goes back to fear-based decision making. So we want to be making our decisions out of love and growth and opportunity. And By the way, I'm not saying put on the Pollyanna rose-colored glasses and just go sign up for any coaching program without doing your due diligence. You need to investigate it and make sure that they do what they say they're going to do, and that their clients are getting real results, and that those are the results that you want to get, right? If they're getting results, but it's not the results you want, that's not going to serve you either. So when we make decisions out of fear, a lot of times we will end up in the judger pit. So if we make a fear-based decision that we're not going to hire and we're going to just deal with the team we have and put up with them, then things start going wrong. Our team members are overloaded and they weren't great team members to begin with. And then we start saying, you know what? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with my leadership? Why can't I do this right? We end up in the judger pit. So we really want to shift that thinking and start looking at what's possible. And what is it that I need to know? What skill sets do I need to learn? So, if hiring is one of those skill sets, we have a course, How to Hire the Best. You can take it at tapthepotential.com/course and learn those hiring skill sets. If it's support around leadership and growing your team and taking things off your plate and delegating more, then you may want to look at our Better Business, Better Life program, because that's where we teach you the skills to do that and how to get to the point where you can take that 4-week vacation and have your team run things and trust your team. That is such an incredible experience. So, a couple of other things that I want to point out specifically in relation to managing your feelings as a business owner is that you want to do the self-care. And self-care means exercising, um, journaling, meditation, paying attention to the thoughts and the statements that are running through your head on a daily basis. Those are all things that are setting you up for a healthier mindset and building your resilience so that you can handle the challenges that come up from a place of asking yourself, what's possible? So I hope what I've shared with you today has been helpful. Remember, if you want to work with us and have our support, there are 3 ways you can work with us. We offer courses, we offer one-to-one coaching, and we offer small group coaching. So to figure out what's the best option for you, I recommend you book a call with us and let us guide you through, based on your business challenges and your circumstances, what's the best option for you at this point. Head on over to tapthepotential.com and book a call. I'll see you later.